What is going on, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now. It is Friday night, which means it's NBA Cup night. Get excited about that. NBA Cup night also means it's no teams on the back half of back-to-back. We do have 4 on the front end. That's Charlotte, the Lakers, Milwaukee, Minnesota. It's a film Friday. We'll be scrolling those clues momentarily as well. Let's go ahead and drop that first one. Let's get it out of the way. The first clue is block. Block is the first clue for Film Friday. You want to get in that Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. How do you do that? You're the first person to tell me what film I am talking about. We'll be dropping clues throughout the show. Block is the first one. Again, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. One game more on the FanDuel slate. DK decided to not include Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs. So FanDuel said, hey, you know what? We need one more superstar on this slate. Wemby. I guess Steph Curry. Yeah, sure. Steph Curry's a superstar. Not fantasy, wise in the same stratosphere as Wemby. But, yeah, we have a lot of superstars on this slate that are in awesome spots, like against terrible opponents. Giannis against the Hornets. Luka against the Pelicans. Anthony Edwards against the Kings. Doug Christie is losing his mind. If you're seeing Doug Christie in his press stuff, he was talking about he only wants to play players that play defense. So I don't know how he's going to field 5. I guess he'll figure it out there for the Kings, but poorly constructed Sacramento Kings in Minnesota. By the way, speaking of NBA Cup, maybe we can get producer Steve to throw it on the screen. Steve, see if you can find the NBA Cup court for Minnesota. It is something. I'm not sure if you've seen it. What's up? It's Tim, Tasteful Tides, single entry specialist, cash game specialist, 3-entry max specialist, just a DFS specialist. Tim, happy Friday. Have you shook your head there? Did you see the court in Minnesota?
They are the neon. Is it like green? It's like a yellow green kind of. Yeah. I can't even stand to look at it. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird looking.
They got to wear the I don't know if they did this. I don't know how legal it would be, but how like Boise State for football has the blue field and they wear blue jerseys and you can't see where the players are.
The Lions did that. The Lions did that one time too. They painted their end zone blue with their blue uniforms. And like the player they have a player laying down. You can't see them. They just pop up in the middle of nowhere. But they should wear the fluorescent green jerseys with the fluorescent green court, and you wouldn't be able to find players. I don't know. They're going to blow out the Kings one way or another. But yeah, I'm not sure if we like that court. But it's tough. It's definitely something. I don't know, man. Maybe I'd like it more if I was younger. I'm not sure. It is tough on the eyes, though. But yeah, sure. There's some good ones out there too. Overall, I think they do a pretty good job with the courts. Who's in, who's out? Body parts. Banchero is out for Orlando. Jalen Brunson is out for the Knicks. So, in my estimation, both of those teams, Orlando and New York, two of the best teams to roster tonight. And speaking of good matchups, Orlando gets the worst defense in all of basketball. The Brooklyn Nets, who give up a multitude of fantasy points in a variety of ways. And then the Heat. I keep talking about this. I feel like I'm not sure if people have figured it out. I think they have at this point. They've come around, but the pace that they are playing is furious. They are flying. So you're getting an absence of Jalen Brunson and, the pace up against Miami, big pace up there for New York. Also a big pace up for Houston, which is kind of one of the sneaky games. Portland's second fastest team in basketball. Houston's bottom 2, bottom 3 in pace as well. It's weird, man. There's not a lot of games where I just don't like anything. I typically like to cross some stuff out if I can cross some stuff out. There's a couple games that are just, not spectacular. And the other catch, Tim, as far as the slate, I'll throw it to you as far as your review before we kind of dive in, is the Pistons. I should also mention Dallas because PJ Washington is dicey and Anthony Davis is especially dicey. He's, highly questionable, probably more doubtful
We don't even have Davis in projections.
Yeah,
so I think we're treating him from the projection side. We're treating him. It looks like more as doubtful right now.
He's officially questionable, but it's a very, very dicey questionable. Yeah, like on the injury report, they have him questionable, but I don't believe it. I don't think he's playing. They're talking about he's not coming back until they can guarantee his health. Like, oh, so he's never going to play? Because I don't know how you guarantee this guy's guarantee the health of his hamstring, whatever. But the tricky one is Detroit, because that's a 7:30 game, and a lot of times they wait. Detroit waits, man, and there's a decent chance. There's a chance we get that news. What time? At 7:00. We get the starting lineup right when, and it's like, well, how much? And the two best teams, in my estimation, the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks, for reasons I just said, and we'll go into more reasons. They're playing at 7:00, so it's like I want to play Knicks, I want to play Magic. I'm almost assured you're going to have at least one in each of my lineups or all my lineups. But then it's like, well, I don't want to lock up too much stuff. Because what if we get Detroit unlocked right at 7:00? What if we all of a sudden get the Paul Reed revenge game? Because Jalen Duren is questionable, Kate Cunningham is questionable, Beef Stew is questionable, and we've seen those guys ruled out for multiple, I guess, a couple games for Beef Stew. We haven't seen him in a while. Kate Cunningham took that big spill, didn't play last game. Duren also out last game. So it's this tricky sort of game I'm trying to figure out, Tim, because I love New York and I love Orlando, but what if everybody's out for Detroit? Are you thinking of the same conundrum? That's something that's kind of on my mind as far as it's like. Also, Detroit might be kind enough to just tell us what's going on at 6:00. Maybe they'll do that. Probably not, but maybe. Overview for you. How do you see things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm already looking at some really, really solid value, and then we haven't even talked about, we haven't even gotten the Detroit news yet. So if those big Detroit pieces end up sitting, we're going to have even more value. And like, I think scores are going to be incredibly high because we have so many studs to pay for. We've got Giannis on this slate. We've got Luka on this slate. We've got Karl Anthony Towns in an amazing spot on this slate. So yeah, I mean, I'm anticipating some pretty amazing scores on this slate. I will say, like, whether or not you want to leave spots open for that 7:30 Philly Detroit game really depends on which site you're playing, because on FanDuel, you absolutely are going to be leaving spots open because FanDuel didn't price up Paul Reed or Danis Jenkins. So, I mean, their values over on the FanDuel side are just absolutely tremendous and are really going to be like, you're going to have them, Jenkins and Reed. Now, on DK, yeah, we have an if-then set up for this, and both Reed and Jenkins are going to be really, really strong values. Not nearly as strong as on FanDuel though. So it's going to be interesting. Like, do we have to play $5,800 Paul Reed? I'm not. It's going to be pretty close. Like, it's nowhere near as good as it was when he was 3,900. But I still
like it.
Yeah, you still have to like it. So it's that the one that I'm is Jenkins at 6,100. Like, yeah, that's the one. Like, he's $4,500 on FanDuel. Like, you're 100% playing over there. But on DK, I think it's much more of a decision. It's not like a lock and load play. I don't think. I think DraftKings did a really good job at least putting him in a price tag where you have to at least think about it, right? Like, he's not a lock and load play at 6,100.
Correct.
So
still a good play.
Still a good play. Definitely still a good play. But I don't think he's any kind of like lock and load play like he is on FanDuel.
The other part of that is, look at the 7:00 slate, right? Davion Mitchell projects pretty good at on what he's 5'3". He's fine, but there's no ceiling on Davion Mitchell, right? He's just like somebody that's fine. He's okay. But like, imagine having Davion Mitchell locked in, and all of a sudden, especially on FanDuel, like you pointed out, that's worth pointing out. Jenkins in the 4s. It's like you already feel like you're dead if you're playing Mitchell against Jenkins and you're overpaying for him. I like McBride. We're assuming McBride's going to jump in the starting lineup in the absence of Brunson, but McBride is nowhere near as good as potentially 4K Jenkins if you lose Cunningham. And then there's Jalen Suggs, who also projects really well. So like, all these guys, similar price: McBride, Suggs, Mitchell, at that point guard, shooting guard position would be overshadowed.
Now, this is more so FanDuel. Like you're right. DK, I think there's still some meat in that bone. Jenkins to be 6'1", which is still fine. And on FanDuel, you're probably putting Drummond in as your cash game center. Probably, maybe. I'm not sure. And you can get to.
Oh, you mean without the Detroit news right now? You mean?
Yeah, like right now it's Drummond,
yeah.
but like you can swap that to Reed easily. They're essentially the same price, right? I think Reed's cheaper.
Yeah.
So that you can kind of figure out. But so that's the thing is like I like McBride today, but do I want to get locked in on? I like Suggs. I think Mitchell's fine. I'm probably not playing Mitchell, but is McBride good enough? Is Suggs good enough to play, not knowing the fate of Cunningham? You know what I mean? That's sort of one of the conundrums for me on this slate, and we'll see. And this might be a thing that a predicament we don't have to deal with, but I think there's a decent chance we do because I think it's getting close to 7:00 when we get that Detroit news. They tend to not be very kind in giving us prompt information. But anything else?
That is a good point. That is a good point. Detroit usually waits to like the last possible minute, don't they? To send off their new. Yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah,
they're not good.
That's an important thing to remember on that. That's a very important point on the slate for sure.
I wish they were playing 7:00 is kind of what I'm saying. That's a roundabout way of saying that. And I feel like they do play some 7:00 games. Maybe Friday night they play 7:30, but I feel like they do play 7:00 games. But yeah, that's where we're at as far as the slate. We're waiting on Dallas as well. Anything else that I missed as far as questionable? PJ Washington. I don't think Sabonis is questionable.
Sabonis, kind of. Yeah, Sabonis is kind of important.
I mean, you're not playing Sabonis though. Nobody's playing Sabonis, I don't think.
No. And you're not going to be getting down to like any of the value pieces like Drew Eubanks either. There's already too many good centers, so really that might not have a huge implications on the slate.
And the Kings might do something really weird with it. There's threats that they might get a really weird lineup out there. I don't even know if I care, but I think that they're going to do something strange, possibly. They're trying to figure out a lineup that works, and this is like square peg round hole. It's just the pieces. I don't know how. It doesn't matter how good of a cook you are. If I give you a box of toothpicks and some Legos and some ground beef, and I say, all right, cook me something. Good luck.
Did you mention VJ Edgecombe? If you did, I apologize.
No, but that's worth noting as well. And Philly's another team, by the way, does a terrible job as far as injury news. They always wait. But yeah, that's definitely something to monitor as well. I guess Grimes would get some more run. Maybe it would just be Maxey taking 17 more shots. Maxey's going to take a lot of shots. He's another.
We touched on Drummond, but I mean Drummond's already really really cheap on FanDuel, and then without Edgecombe, that'd be a really really close one between Jalen Duren less Detroit, Paul Reed, or Andre Drummond on FanDuel. I think that's a really really tough. That could be a tough decision over on that site.
Drummond versus Reed.
Yeah.
I think it's clearly Reed. If Reed is what, like $1K cheaper as well? Am I wrong in saying that? Isn't he in the fours still?
40. Okay, yeah, he's 46.
He's 46.
And Drummond's 52. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't play them both. You got to pick one. The other thing, I mean, obviously tournament conversation, but like just spending up on somebody like Şengün, who like nobody's going to play. It's just a totally different build. Could be an interesting route to go. We like Cat. He's power forward. So, like Wemby's power forward as well on FanDuel. Okay. We've given the overview. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things. Help us keep those lights on. We got an hour or so until crunch time comes on. I believe it's Roth and Beer and TJ. Anything else you want to say before we fully dive in and go a little game by game here?
No, let's go game by game.
I did pull up the live stream chat, some guesses coming in. It's not The Rock as far as today's Film Friday, or Rudy, or Silver Linings Playbook, or The Gift, or The Banshees of Inisherin, or The Matrix. But yeah, keep those guesses coming on through. We can drop a second clue. Let's give a second clue to the people. for those that arrive early. It is winter, block, and winter. Okay, first game. Let's do it. My Miami Heat, New York Knicks, 240.5 total. You know, remember those? If you're old enough, you remember the old school, like, first to 80 games with New York and Miami back in the Alonzo Mourning, Jeff Van Gundy days. 240.5 total. New York is a 6-point favorite here. We did mention big deal here for New York is that Brunson Burner is not available tonight. He's out. Everybody else good to go as far as Miami. They have a lot of names on their injury list, but nothing really new. Tyler Hero's still out with that ankle. Bam, he's got a toe, the big toe, so he cannot play basketball. Both those guys are out. They've been out. Jaime Jaquez, these guys are popping up, but they're all available. Jaime Jaquez, Davion Mitchell, Norm Powell, Khalil Ware, all on the list, but all available. Yeah, this is the pace, right? The pace for Miami has been insane, and number one pace in the league. New York playing up in pace here, and we're expecting. Also, another note as far as Miami giving up the most 3-point shot attempts in the league, which I think is of note, especially for somebody like Miles McBride, who hasn't been great this year, hasn't got a ton of burn, but he seems to be the most likely, biggest benefactor of the absence of Brunson. We're having him start. I think there's an off chance he doesn't. Maybe they start Shamit or Hart or Kolick, something goofy like that. But McBride projects pretty well. The floor is rough if he's not making his threes, but this is a great 3-point opponent, and it's a great pace. And we talked about Cat already, but feel free to, I think he's one of the best big spends on the slate. Miami, New York, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is an absolutely unbelievable spot for Cat tonight. 9,400 on DraftKings, power forward only over there. I was surprised that he was only going to be only 30% projected owned. I thought he'd be much higher than that. Like, this is definitely somebody that I'm going to be locking into my teams, regardless of news or no news or whatever it is that we're waiting on. Like, he's definitely a plug and play. I would consider locking him into a 3 max here. I would certainly be getting overweight him in GPPs, in a 20 max. I'd be getting to at least 50% of him here. This is a relatively close spread. It's a 240 total. Miami's pace is real. They're the fastest team in the NBA. It looks like that's going to stay. This is how they're going to be playing. So, Cat's one of my favorite plays. I know it's the first game to talk about, but I mean, he is an absolute premium play. Miles McBride, he's point guard, shooting guard on both FanDuel and DK, 4,800 on DK, 4,400 on FanDuel. So a little bit better play on FanDuel, but both, just fantastic across the board here. So absolutely love him. You could definitely take shots on Bridges and Anunoby. I don't think I'm going to get much to Mitch Rob here, just because I want to use my center spots somewhere else. But this is a really, really good game here. On the other side of this game, I'm getting to a ton of Davion Mitchell in Sims. I don't know if I really like that. This isn't necessarily. I don't think this is a great spot for a ceiling here. So I think I might kind of shy away from him. I do like Norman Powell and GPPs. I don't mind Andrew Wiggins either. But Davion Mitchell, he projects decently. He's popping in some optimals. He's popping in Sims as well. But again, I don't know if I necessarily want to lock up a spot with him. So I'm not sure. It depends. It's kind of news dependent with him. If we knew we weren't getting any news, I might play him. I don't think this is a great spot for a ceiling. Can he get you 26, 27? Something like that, yes, obviously, but I just don't feel like he has a huge ceiling here.
LSU in chat says everybody go McBride. I'm going to go Clarkson. I guess Clarkson could do it. We're projecting for 20 minutes, and that's one of those things that's just kind of the flow of the game. If Clarkson's making shots and McBride isn't, he's going to get more run. I kind of wish he was in the threes. I kind of wish both these guys were in the low threes, but I don't make enough lineups to consider Clarkson. But I hear you. And again, the big cloud is, locking up. Do I want to lock up Clarkson if something better? Like we talk about Dallas, like Williams can get even better for Dallas. He's another guy that could be unlocked later on in the slate if we happen to lose. We're almost definitely going to lose Anthony Davis. We're decent chance we lose PJ Washington as well. So I think Brandon Williams, who's going to probably get more burn than already projected, and he's projecting fine as is right now. I agree with you on Mitchell. Again, he's fine. He's probably not going to kill you, but probably not going to make you either. And he would be a player that I regret having if better stuff opens up.
That's how I should have put it. That makes a ton of sense. Definitely a player that you might regret having at the very, very beginning of the slate.
Yeah. I mean, if I gave you 28 points for Davion Mitchell, and then, which is about, whatever, what he puts up more or less, are you going to be happy with that if I tell you, guess what? These players are all out. Like, now you're probably not going to – that's probably not a winning number for you. I like the Powell call. Powell's probably my favorite player on Miami. Minutes have been up. Usage, he's almost definitely going to close. He's one of the – it's a little tricky to figure out, like, their fourth and fifth guys sometimes. We talk about Jaquez coming off the bench has been spectacular. He's okay. But I see Eric in the chat, and he's talking about the possible blowout. I mean, if we're worrying about a blowout in this game, it's a 6-point line.
I was going to say, there's a lot of games on the slate that I'd be worried about a blowout. And, I mean, there's always some blowout concern, but this isn't really one of those games I'm too worried about that with.
Yeah, it can happen, but if we're going to do this is not a top pick. So, we're talking about the Magic, and we're talking about Minnesota, and we're talking about the Lakers, and we're talking about maybe Houston, Milwaukee, a lot of other teams, a lot of other games before we get to and if you're making lineups, you're just afraid to play teams that are, or players that are expected to get blown out. I think that's you can take stands on particular lineups, sure, but just as a blanket statement, I can't play players that in games that might get blown out. I think that's a losing proposition. Did you give your official thoughts on McBride?
I like McBride quite a bit.
What if he's not starting?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, maybe I would lose a little bit of interest in him if he's not starting. But even then, I mean, what are we projecting for his minutes? I got to look real quick.
I think it's about 30.
30, yeah. Yeah, if he's not starting, I still think you can play him. Would Shamit or Hart start for him?
Yeah. I mean, it's Shamit, Hart, and maybe Kolek, just because they keep the second unit in order. Like, okay. I'm not saying you would play Kolek, but
right.
They do it sometimes. But and I wouldn't run the Shamit. I think Hart you could play. He's taken a step down from last season, new regime, small sample size. And I agree, Katz is an awesome play. And the argument against them is just the ownership stuff. The only argument against them, you want the other argument? He's been really handsy this year. He's been in a lot of foul trouble. It's a career high 4.2 per 36 fouls. If you look at the game log, you can tell he's been in foul trouble in a plethora of games this year. And they're not afraid to bench him, which, and they have Mitrov there.
If Bam were in this game, this whole matchup would be completely different. Without Bam, I mean, who's he going to be fouling? Wiggins.
Have you seen Cat play? He finds.
I know. He can. Yeah, no, I know.
He hunts him. He's like, who can I foul?
He's so bad defensively. That's true.
He does. You feel like he's like some of these players like figure it out. Like he takes some really bad fouls.
Yeah,
I'm sure producer Steve he's watched his share of Knicks basketball, and even when he's in foul trouble, just like what are you doing? Why are you hunting this foul? Yeah. And then Ricky's talking about the point. Yeah, I made the point earlier. Miami gives up the most made threes, or attempted threes. So I do think this is a spot where McBride could, make 5+ threes. And he kind of has to. That's how he has to get there. He's got to put the ball in the buckets. I think he'll have a good opportunity to do so. And if he's not, though, he's not going to contribute elsewhere, and he might get the hook for players like Jordan Clarkson. Okay, let's see. Brooklyn Magic. Moving on. So, oh boy, can you play Magic players because they're 15-point favorites versus Brooklyn? That is a big boy number. Brooklyn, as far as their injury report, this is going to be for a while. No Cam Thomas. Now, Day'Ron Sharpe, he's got that butt, but he's going to play with it. Day'Ron Sharpe is back. He is available for Brooklyn. We've yet to see Haywood Highsmith this season. Danny Wolf got sent back down to the G League. Banchero out. Franz Wagner, he's going to be wearing a face mask, and he's well positioned against this Brooklyn team because the Brooklyn team just absolutely gifts opponents fantasy points. Jalen Suggs, his minutes have been creeping up. Good matchup here against the Nets. Claxton's been really, really good. It's a little tougher as far as the price. I like Suggs. I like Bane. I like Wagner. Wendell Carter I'm good with as well. The Brooklyn, I think no team in the league gives up more points in the paint than the Nets. Well, they can just give points too. No team gives up more points, and also specific to the paint. So he's probably my fourth favorite amongst the Magic. We're expecting Jonathan Isaac to start as the fifth player. It could be Isaac. It could be De Silva.
I was going to say I thought it'd be De Silva, but we have Isaac.
It could be. Yeah. I don't know how much I care. I mean, again, right. I'm only making so many lineups. Do you care?
No.
Black is another player you can play in the mix. But yeah, how much are we prioritizing the Magic? Because I think they all look good. Suggs looks good. Bane looks good. Wagner looks good. Wagner, one of my favorites. He gets the biggest bump in the absence of Banchero. I wrote about this in the blurbs. See if I can pull that up here on the fly. Yeah, the Nets have a league worst 126.3 defensive rating. They allow the most opponent assists. They allow the second most opponent rebounds. They allow the most points in the paint. With Paul Banchero out, Wagner sees a 6.4% usage bump, all the way up to a league team leading 31.4%. So, I like it all the levels. Working your way up as far as salary. Suggs, Bane, you could play Carter. If I have all the salary in the world, I want to get some Wagner, but again, I'm probably going to have one Magic player in every lineup. He's my favorite. How do you feel about Orlando? And I guess you can work in Brooklyn as well.
Yeah, so Orlando, I'm just going to start over on FanDuel really quick. Definitely going to be getting more exposure to Orlando on FanDuel, but either site, it's a min one spot, I think. Like if you're building rules in Lineup HQ, I'd mid one Orlando here. But like on FanDuel, Desmond Bane at 6,400, Franz Wagner at 79, way too cheap over on the FanDuel slate. So I might even be getting to like both of those guys in cash games. I think you could play both those guys in single entry. Jalen Suggs 5,400 on FanDuel, 51 on DK. So both cheap really across the board here. I'm a little bit worried. I want to play Jalen Suggs. Like when I first looked at this slate, I was like, I'm definitely going to be playing Jalen Suggs over Davion Mitchell. I was also saying like, I'd rather play Jalen Suggs over Dennis Jenkins on DK at least if Cade is out. But then I was like, well, he's probably not going to play over 30 minutes here. So just because I think that in this game there is significant blowout concerns, but the price is just really good. So he's got to put up 30 here, I would assume. So it's a pretty hard spot to get away from. I'm just a little bit hesitant on his ceiling here, just because I'm worried he's just not going to get the minutes. Like this is not going to be the matchup where they extend him to over 30 minutes. I would assume.
Yeah, I think his minutes are creeping up a little bit. Last time he lost some run because of a blowout. I'm pulling up. I wanted to see exactly how many minutes he played in the first half, and actually, it's not as much as I thought it was, as I remembered. He only played like 11 first half minutes. He played much more in the second half, despite it being a 17-point game. Didn't play the last 2 or 3 or so. But we've seen him play, I think, 28, right? 29. Yeah, we saw him play 29 against Boston not too long ago. 26 against New York. Again, losing a couple minutes there at the end. Strangely, only playing like a 12 or so in the first half. I don't think, was he in foul trouble? He did have four personal fouls, so that might have been it. He might have 3 in the first. That certainly could have been what. Yeah, he might have lost there about 4 minutes or so in the first half. I like him. I think he's cheap enough. Again, the only conundrum, FanDuel specific, especially like you're talking about, is the situation with Detroit with Jenkins at 4-5, and he could like 10x that. Possibly, which is just, again, I want to try to keep the light on for him. If we don't have clarity, if we don't have news, trying to see what kind of news we have right now, and nothing's really coming in. Just for Saturday, Darius Garland's still out for Cleveland, for what it's worth. Do we care about Brooklyn? Do we acknowledge their existence?
I did not acknowledge their existence. Trying to see, like, did I even get to any of them in Sims at all? I mean, very low, very well. Second fewest of any team on the entire slate. Did I get to Brooklyn? Very small percentage. I mean, we're showing some ownership on Noah Clowney, but I don't even really like that today. Personally, I'd have to be building probably over 50 lineups before I'd get to any Brooklyn. And even then, maybe just a one-off of MPJ. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Sharp coming back hurts Clowney. So I think Claxton's interesting. He's getting more run, but it's just hard for me to justify it in a few lineups. But if you want him in your tournament pool, I don't hate it at all.
Is it? I think it's Igor Doyman, 4,100 on FanDuel, point guard, shooting guard. I don't think that's horrible, but again, I'd have to be building out quite a few lineups before I'd even get to him.
Yeah, Yeoman, by the way, just so you know, going forward.
Oh, Yeoman. Okay.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah.
Yegor.
I think it's Yegor Yeoman, if I'm not mistaken. That's how you pronounce it. But I just, again, I hate to repeat the same thing over and over again, but these are the guys you want locked in necessarily. I'll take Suggs over him. I'll take McBride over him, I think. But, and he's shown an ability. Rookie, he's already taken steps so far. He's looked pretty decent. There's been some opportunity there. They haven't really maxed out his minutes, still kind of keeping him under 30. But the price is pretty fair. But again, it's just mostly an ignore for Brooklyn. You said there that the team that's simming is the second least popular.
Yep.
Who's the least popular? I'm curious who that is.
You mentioned them briefly. Yeah, exactly. You mentioned them briefly at the top of the show. It's Sacramento.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's scoot along to the third game on the slate. Just taking a peek here at the Discord channel, see if anybody got today's Film Friday. It's not Four Brothers or Toy Story or Boys in the Hood or Miracle or Salt. The Revenant, Hateful Eight, good movie. Elf. I don't know what Snow on the Bluff is. I've never heard of that. Or the Santa Claus. Maybe the third clue. The third clue is Diamond. Block, Winter, Diamond. Get yourself some RG Premium, a week free. Let me know what film I'm talking about here in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Live stream chat channel. First three clues are Block, Winter, Diamond. I don't really know how to discuss Philadelphia, Detroit, Tim. I guess we'll do our best here. Maybe Crunch Time will do a better job when there's more information. If there's more information, Philadelphia taking on Detroit. Detroit is a 4-point favorite here at home. Again, Cunningham is questionable. He's got that hip. Jalen Duren's got an ankle, so he's questionable. We know Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart's questionable with his ankle. We haven't seen him in several games. Sasser's still out. Ivy's still out. Tobias Harris still out. Nothing new there. And Oscar Thompson, who makes it more of a, the defense a little less efficient for Detroit. Best defender on the Pistons side. He's still out as well with his ankle. So Detroit's still winning, by the way. They're still playing really well. Good for them. Philadelphia, of course, Paul George. I don't know when we're going to see him. Jared McCain was sent down to the G League. Embiid, that looks pretty bad. They rested him a couple days ago on an island game, and they're resting him 4 days later. He's still out with his knee. That's going to be a thing all season long, obviously. VJ Edgecombe, the rookie, he's got a back, so he is questionable. I don't know. Do the best you can do here. We kind of touched on it so far if you want to pull up the FN stuff, but how do you feel about Philly and Detroit, the only game at 7:30?
Yeah, I mean, if Cade were to play, if Duran were to play, I don't really have much interest in Detroit. Cade's 11K, Duran's 8.3. Obviously Cade went for 96 the other day. He can beat an 11K price tag. But I don't have that much interest in this matchup. But like we talked about, if Duran were to sit, this becomes a decision on DraftKings. On FanDuel, it's not a decision. On FanDuel, you need to leave spots open. You must leave spots open for this situation. Pivot somewhere else if it doesn't break the way that you want. But they are so cheap on FanDuel that these are core plays. So definitely leave 2 spots open for Danis Jenkins and Paul Reed on FanDuel. Paul Reed 4,600, Jenkins 4,500. On DK 61 for Jenkins, 58 for Paul Reed. Not as locks of plays, but definitely really, really strong plays here. So I mean, Jenkins is the one that I'm most worried about at 61. But it's kind of like how do you compare him to Davion Mitchell? Well, I like Jenkins more than Davion Mitchell. I guess I slightly like him more than Jalen Suggs as well, just because I think the minutes will be higher. So yeah, so I mean, it's tough. If he's going to be playing 35, 40 minutes here at 6,100, it is a really good spot. So, and you got to trust the projections team. We have an if then for this. It's a very, very strong play, but it's not nearly as strong as it is on FanDuel.
Yeah, we would project Paul Reed also to play 30 minutes as well if Cunningham, Duran, and Stewart are out. I did run a court IQ thing, and I just took Cunningham off the court. I was thinking, what if one is out? What if it's just Cunningham? Jalen Duran in 44 minutes. I know it's not a monster sample, right? 44 minutes this season, Tim, without Cunningham on the court, a 35.8% usage, 1.7 fantasy points per minute. So Duran projects really, really awesome. If he plays and Cunningham doesn't go, I know he's not as cheap as you necessarily want him to be, but he's earned that AK price tag. I would certainly put him, we'll talk about Drummond, especially on FanDuel. He looks really, really good. He probably looks like your cash game center as of right now. I assume he's projecting to be a cash game center. There's moving pieces, but if we had to lock something in at this current state, knowing what we know, I think Drummond's the cash game guy in FanDuel. Is that right?
He is the cash game guy on DK right now, and he's the cash game guy on FanDuel.
Yeah. He's cheaper on FanDuel, right? DK too.
Yeah,
especially.
Yeah, I mean he's 5,200 on FanDuel, 57 on DraftKings. But yeah, he's popping in both optimals on both sites.
Yeah. How many minutes are we giving Maxey? He's another guy that. Yeah. Does Philadelphia care about the cup? Do they care about such things? We're projecting.
You're giving Maxey 39 minutes.
And is there anybody that really projects well if we happen to lose Edgecombe? I feel like there's not anybody that's a priority. Am I wrong in saying do we have an if then for that?
We do have an if then for that. I wouldn't say priority. It's Drummond does get a little bit of an increase, but
and Maxey a tick as well.
Maxey gets a tick as well. I think you could take shots on Oubre and Grimes.
Yeah.
I think you really could, at least in tournaments, but they're by no means a priority.
That's the way I see it as well. Of note, if we lose Edgecombe, probably just raises the ceiling of somebody like Maxey, who could possibly take 35 shots. Anything else here as far as Philly, Detroit, best we can do, or shall we move along?
Let's move along.
Okay. I think this is kind of the sneaky one, Tim, that I don't know if people are playing, especially the Houston side. And Houston's playing way up in pace here against Portland. 236.5 is the total. Portland's about an 8-point dog here on the road against the Rockets. The Rockets just incredible rebounders. They're the best rebounding team in basketball. 56.4% is their rebounding percentage, which is distinctly, even higher than what 55 is the next number. So they got 1.5% on the next team. Pace-wise, the Blazers, second fastest team in basketball. Houston, third slowest. So I do really, really think this is an interesting game for Amen Thompson. I think this is a game where he can kind of get loose in transition, and that's where I like him most. Blazers, the Rockets. I don't really like picking on Houston's defense. Really good, good individual defenders. Good, defensively overall. They're top 6, top 7 on the season. How do you see this game shaping up? The Blazers and the Rockets.
Yeah, Portland plays at the second fastest pace in all of basketball. This should be a good spot for Houston. They are not coming with much ownership at all. I think that's a really good call by you with Amen Thompson. He would be like the first guy that I would get in from the Houston side. I do think Jabari Smith at 5K, power forward only on DraftKings, 5,400 on FanDuel. So I do like both Thompson and Smith here. You could always take shots on Şengün. I don't know. There's some centers here that I'd rather be playing, but I think this is a pretty good spot here. And again, there's going to be absolutely no ownership. So like this Houston side here with the tempo, the pace that Portland plays at, with the lack of ownership that Houston's getting here, I think this is a really good GPP spot. I think you can, like if you're building out in a 20 max, something like that, I think you can get exposure to Reed Shepherd, who continues to pay off that dirt cheap price tag. He's really cheap here, especially, he's cheap on both sites. So, I mean, he could easily go for 30 plus fantasy points here, and he's never getting ownership. So I think you can get to Reed Shepherd here. So there definitely are spots here on Houston that I do like in large field GPP. Drew Holiday on the Portland side, especially on FanDuel at 6,900. I don't mind him. Not as good of a play on DK, but still, I think you can get exposure to Drew Holiday. Other than that, though, I don't know. Like you said, I don't really want to pick on Houston here outside of maybe taking shots on Drew Holiday.
By the way, Kyle in chat. What's up, Kyle? He was on yesterday's show talking about kind of circling back to Philadelphia. He was saying from the guy who did the if-then stuff, of course, doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff here at RG, Quentin Grimes gets the biggest bump if we happen to lose VJ. Kyle, can't you just tell us who's going to be in or out? That'd be much easier. Don't you know a guy in Detroit? He's got to know a guy. What about Detroit? Tell us who's playing for Detroit tonight, Kyle. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. He probably doesn't. I don't think the Pistons are letting anybody know who's playing basketball tonight, unfortunately, until the very, very end. So they absolutely must do so. We're seeing ownership-wise, by the way. I mean, I'm looking at Şengün at like 2%. Again, I'm not running 150, but if I was running 150, like just get to 5. I'd be fine getting over the field. He'd be somebody I would want to get over the field. Tari Eason's another guy, like if he gets 25 minutes of run and like an up pace, he's the kind of guy that would thrive in this. Another, play that's just not going to – people aren't going to get to. More like large field tournament stuff. Only one player currently on DK projected in the double digits. That is Smith for Houston. Holiday around 9% on DK. You did mention the FanDuel price, much more appealing, 6.9, like you said. We're giving him 25% ownership over there. General rule: if you're cheaper on FanDuel, meaningfully cheaper on FanDuel, you're probably a good play over there. I don't really want to pick on Houston's defense as like a general thought on a big slate, but if the price is cheap enough, and it is, I think Holiday should be in your pool. What else do we have here? Oh, Discord channel. Anybody get a winner? Last clue was diamonds. It's not Black Diamond or Blood Diamond, or the catcher was a spy, which is a really interesting story. Home Alone. It's not Home Alone or Bad Santa or Reindeer Games or Uncut Gems. Stressful movie. Or Walk Hard. That's a lot of fun too. Or Siberia. I don't know that movie. But okay. Maybe we give the people a fourth clue. This will get them there, possibly, maybe. Fourth clue is caretaker. Block, winter, diamond, caretaker. Get in that Discord channel. Tell me what movie we are talking about. Next game up, Tim. It's the aforementioned Kings. They're playing basketball, or their best way they can do it against Minnesota. This to me feels like kind of a blowout. You never really know. T-Wolves are 12-point favorites. 239.5 is the total as far as who's in and who's out for this one. Well, the Kings do have some players that are questionable. Malik Monk, he's got an ankle. He's questionable. Sabonis, he's got that rib cage or rib of some sort. So he's questionable. Keegan Murray, we've yet to see him this season. He's still out. Minnesota, they still insist on putting Dante DiVincenzo on the injury report, although he's just playing with a face mask. That's it. He's got a face. He's wearing a face mask. He's playing with it. Terrence Shannon unavailable. Doesn't really matter. He's not really meaningful. Kings, are we crossing them out? We might get a funky starting lineup because again, there's some frustration there. They want to play some defensive players, but I don't know who those guys are, and I don't know if it meant maybe Keon Ellis. Maybe they'll play some Keon Ellis, but do we care? I don't think I care. And my players are probably mostly either locked up by now. So, yeah. And then Minnesota, Edwards should absolutely roast this team. Randall should do what he wants as well inside. Terrible rim protection for the Kings. How do you feel about Minnesota and Sacramento?
Yeah, this is where FanDuel has priced up Minnesota more than what DraftKings has. So on DraftKings, I don't mind getting to a little bit of Julius Randle at 8,300. It's at 89, but that would really be it. I think this whole game on FanDuel, at least for me, is a complete exclude. Pretty close for me on that as well on DraftKings, other than getting to some Randle and Edwards, but. I guess you can take shots on Rudy Gobert at 6K, but again, center's pretty strong today, so I don't know how much of that I would realistically be playing. It looks like we've kicked out Russell Westbrook out of the starting lineup. I think that makes sense. I don't think we can play him anymore. Really, I think Sacramento's a pretty easy cross-off here.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now too. We'll see. Stay tuned. I guess things can change, but I have a hard time getting excited about the Kings. They're trying to find something, but again, the ingredients, chicken salad. It's good luck, Kings. But you've built a horrible roster. But this is the best you can do. Anything else here as far as Sacramento, Minnesota, or shall we scoot along?
No.
Okay, Lakers and the Pelicans. Luka looks like a really, really interesting big spin. I talked about one of the things with the slate is we have some superstars and we have some superstars in good matchups. Right, this is an awesome matchup, of course, for Luka. Good matchup for Reeves as well. LeBron coming soon. It seems like he's coming back soon. I know he's hanging out with the G League. What is he officially? I'm sure he's ruled out, but like at some point, I think he's coming back soon. He's lurking. Officially out with his what is it? Scadia? I don't know. I'm probably not saying that correctly. Yeah, he's out. It's like a
sciatica.
That's what it is. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so he's not playing tonight, obviously, but I think we're gonna get him soon. We'll see. Still no Gabe Vincent. New Orleans, Zion. Skinny Zion's got that hamstring, so he's not playing basketball. Still no Poole party. Jordan Poole out with that quad. We're expecting Fierce and Murphy and Herb to start alongside Sadiq Bey, Kevon Looney. They're still insisting on doing the Kevon Looney thing, huh? They're going to develop. They're developing Queen. I guess they're not overwhelming him with too many minutes, but he projects as one of the better players, I suppose, on New Orleans. As far as big spends in the slate, where is Luka for you, Tim? Is Luka the best big spend? Because we haven't talked about Giannis just yet. I think I like more, but I'm not going to yell at you if you want to play Luka. It's also position stuff too, just like how it fits lineups. But Lakers, Pelicans, what do you got?
Yeah, between Giannis and Luka, for me, it does come down to positions because there's just so many good point guards. So I'm almost forced to play Giannis. The Sims they're very, very close, both around 15%. Projection, very, very similar as well. Right around 64 fantasy points on DK. So it's super close. The way that I'm currently building teams, a lot of spending down at guard. So that's leaving that spend up at the power forward position with Giannis. Now, if you think the field's going to do that, that might be a good idea to go a little bit heavier on Luka. I'm not sure. I think it's super close between those two. But with this whole Lakers Pelicans game, getting to quite a bit here, getting to quite a bit of Austin Reeves, which I was surprised by.
I was too.
8K on DK. So definitely a strong play. On the DraftKings site, he is 83 on FanDuel. Shooting guard, small forward on FanDuel, point guard, shooting guard on DK. So, getting to quite a bit of Austin Reeves. I don't know how I feel about that. I do want to get exposure here against this Pelicans team. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a complete blowout too. So I think, getting one of these primary Laker pieces isn't a bad idea. So I understand why we're getting to some Austin Reeves here, both in optimals and in sims. So, and then on the other side, there's really a lot to like, which is terrifying. But Sadiq Bey at 4,800. He's one of my favorite under 5K plays. Same thing with Derek Queen, 4,900. Getting to a ton of both of them. Jeremiah Fears at 4,800. Again, he's in that same Davion Mitchell, Jalen Suggs kind of pricing tier. So that whole tier is really strong from a points per dollar perspective. So, getting to quite a bit here, especially on DK, but it's still on FanDuel as well. I'm getting to more Pelicans in terms of team exposure than any other team on the entire slate in Sims right now.
Yeah, Bay coming off a big game feels a little chasey to me, And you mentioned Fears projects pretty well, Bay projects pretty well, Queen projects pretty well, and how much New Orleans do I want? And I might cap that at one of those three. I don't, unless you're running Luka on the other side, then all of a sudden, sure, you can play two of Fears, Bay, and Queen. Or even Reeves. And I actually manually dropped Reeves' projection a little bit just because I was getting too much of him and stuff that I was running. It's not that I don't like him. It's just I just think there's other things that are better around the similar price point. So I'm not against it. And I guess, Mr. Richards asked about Murphy. Yeah, sure.
Trey Murphy, definitely. I was kind of focusing on those value guys, but yeah, absolutely. Trey Murphy is a really, really strong play. It's to me, though, it's I want to play these value guys for the Pelicans. That's kind of who I'm leaning on right now. But yeah, if you want to play Trey Murphy, I have absolutely no issue with that. Quite a bit of the offense does flow through him. So, that's completely fine.
It's always interesting when the best player on a team is the fourth or fifth most popular player ownership wise. And I understand why.
Right.
He's third or fourth, depending on behind Bay, behind Queen, right there with Fears, basically. Are you willing to play on your main lineup two of these cheap Pels? And if you do, are you essentially saying, well, if I'm doing that, I got to play Luka or Reeves with them?
I do not think you have. I think you can, and I might even be playing two of these Pelicans. I do not think that you have to have a run back of any kind. You can absolutely. This is a team that I want to, stream against. So I obviously don't mind if you pay it for Luka or Austin Reeves. I think that's completely fine. But I don't think you have to force anything with this.
We did get a winner in the Discord channel. So shout out to Creator. I see producer Steve has already touched base. Going to juice you up there with RG Premium or Scores and Odds, Dealer's Choice. Shout out to you. We'll drop the fifth clue here just for fun. We'll play it out. The fifth clue is maze. So block, winter, diamond, caretaker, and maze. And we'll explain that soon enough. Crunch time coming in about 15 minutes or so. You got TJ Zwarych, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatchewan, Canada. You got Beermakersfan and his six-pack, as well as Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth taking you guys all the way up to lock. Two more games on the DK main slate. By the way, it's really quiet, right, Tim? No news. Just no news coming in. We're not getting news. It's just not happening. Nothing.
No news.
We did get news that Christian Brown is out for at least 6 weeks for Denver. So that's kind of a bummer for Denver, who looks Joker is just out of his mind this year. The things that he is doing, the efficiency he's doing, so good. OKC and is here. Denver is here, and then there's everybody else. The Thunder are doing without Jalen Williams. But
get this, Dean.
What
Alert. Cade and Duran and Beef Stew are all game time decisions.
No, you don't say. You get that 90 minutes before. I got excited for a second. No, game time decision. Thanks for nothing, Detroit. Seriously, game time decision at 6:00. By the way, was minus 6,000 at the DK Sportsbook. That was the lock of locks. They were not going to tell us anything. So thank you for nothing. Okay. Hornets taking on the Bucks. 238.5 is a total. Another potential blowout here. 10-point favorites, the Bucks. This is a rematch of a game that just went down, but Giannis didn't play that well in that game because he was resting his knee. I assume he's fine. All systems go because he was playing a lot of minutes and some back-to-back stuff. No KPJ. Prince is out with a neck. He cannot play basketball. Giannis officially probable now. As far as the Hornets, Ball is back, but I would be a little concerned about those minutes. The things you're hearing coming out of Charlotte about managing him, managing his games. I'm just not playing LaMelo Ball officially. All the stars tonight, it's just there's no chance. Is it possible he plays 32, 33 minutes and gets there? I guess, but I am very much betting against that. It just does not seem like a necessary play with all these other studs. So Ball is crossed out, and with him there, he's going to eat away from the other players. However, there is no Cock. Ryan Kalkbrenner, he's officially out. This is due to his wife having a child, so congratulations to them. Moussa Diabate, just in case you want another cheap center, Moussa Diabate he's 5'3" on FanDuel. This is the flip, right? This is the reverse. 5'3" on FanDuel, but he is 4'2" on DK. Where I think he's very much cash game playable over there. But Giannis, we got to talk about Giannis because, they have Diabate and, nobody else really, no rim protection. Giannis is going to fully smash. You love him against everybody. You especially love him against teams that have no rim protectors. Man, he's my favorite big spend in the slate if I can get there. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there because I might have a little bit more of a balanced build, but somebody like Cat, another player with similar price points. But how about yourself? Hornets, Bucks, what is the plan of attack here?
Yeah, it looks like we're getting some massive chalk on Moussa Diabate at 4,200. And I do think – what's that?
Is that bad chalk?
I mean, that was kind of my first instinct when I looked at the slate that it was going to be bad chalk, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I think it's pretty good chalk. At that price point – with no Cock runner, I don't mind it. The only issue is, what do we do if we get the Paul Reed value? Is that going to be better? Like, are we going to be, pivoting off of Diabate? And do we want to, it's that to me is the decision. Like, if we knew there was no news coming, I would stick with Diabate here. I just think that price point is just too good to pass up. So I'm completely fine with it. I'm getting to a ton of it in Sims as well. So, I mean, it's fine. I mean, and I think you're playing Giannis today. Like, I think you're prioritizing him. Take your 70 fantasy points or 65 fantasy points, and maybe its ceiling gets you 80 plus. But I really like him today. Like you said, there's no rim protection there. So, I mean, I absolutely love Giannis today.
Diabate is another guy that can get in foul trouble. Not extreme, but like a 3.9, personal fouls per 36. He's not going to play 36. We're projecting 28. They get the plum dog behind him, Mason Plumlee. If you're playing extreme, 3K Plumlee. Could he get there like in 22 minutes, especially if Diabate gets, I assume there's no overlap. We're giving, we're not even guaranteeing 48 combined for what it's worth, Diabate and Plumlee. I guess they would have like Portis coming in and playing some 5. You could play small ball if you want to. I don't know why I'm bringing up Plumlee, but yeah, he's the guy that would play.
A couple of people asked in chat, like, can you pivot to Plumlee? I don't think so. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's extreme. Like if you want to, if you want to fade Diabate, that's fine. But I don't think I would necessarily pivot to Plumlee.
So he's 3K stone min, which is kind of exciting. But the entire season, let's see if I can do some math here quickly. Keep in mind I went to UCF, but 16 minutes. That wasn't a lot of numbers to add up. He's played 60 minutes the entire season. Mason Plumlee. Obviously, this is the first game for Cock being out, so that's why he's projected to play somewhere in the teens. But it's a huge slate, and you're probably betting on blowout, and you even prioritize Plumlee in a blowout. I mean, I guess he mops, I suppose, but they don't necessarily need to see that. But you were talking about Reed versus Diabate. I prefer Reed if we know that Duran's out, I would play Reed over him. I know it's a little bit different as far as the price stuff.
What if we didn't get Reed, Dean? Like, what if we knew we weren't going to be getting Reed? Is it Drummond or Diabate on FanDuel? Drummond is 52, Diabate is 5.3, so Diabate's $100 more than Drummond on FanDuel.
I prefer Drummond, but I'm not going to fight you on it. I guess I'm a little bit more inclined to play Diabate if I'm playing Giannis, if it's in the same, if you make a tiebreaker. But I prefer Drummond. Do you have a hard take on that? Diabate versus
Diabate is not going to be as Drummond's going to be very, very popular on FanDuel if we don't get Reed as value. So Diabate is, I think, definitely worthy of a pivot. Some of your shares over to Diabate, I think, is a pretty decent play at 5,300. So I don't mind it. I mean, Drummond's safer, but he's also going to be way more highly owned.
Yeah. But our guy Butto in chat's asking about Liam McNeely. I'm just not betting on the potential of somebody like mopping up. I suppose he can get there if he gets lucky and plays 20 minutes or so, but that's not what I'm looking for on this slate. This slate seems too good. So that's not for me. Okay. Clippers, Mavs. Oh, before we do that, let's give some clarity to today's Film Friday. We did get a winner from Creator. There are people in chat guessing. The first clue, Tim, was block, and it is in reference to the main character having writer's block. The main character has writer's block. Clue number 2, winter. It does take place during winter. The third clue was diamond. What did diamonds do, Tim? What do diamonds do? How would you describe a diamond?
Shiny.
Look at that. That's how I would describe a diamond too. They are shiny. Clue number 4, caretaker. The main character in this movie is a caretaker for not a person, but a hotel, the Overlook Hotel. And clue number 5 was maze. There's a big scene with a maze, a hedge maze, near the end of the movie. There's a famous GIF. Maybe producer Steve can throw up there. But actually, there's probably several GIFs from this movie. Several people guessed it in chat as well. It's The Shining. The Shining, Tim. Have you seen The Shining?
Oh yes, many times.
There you go. Is it one of your favorites? Well, the family gathers around for this one. Family favorite?
I wouldn't go that far, but it is a Stephen King novelty.
Yes, and I think did he hate this one, the adaptation from Kubrick? I don't remember. He tends to.
I don't know.
I don't remember if he liked this one or not. Yeah, the sneaky Stephen King one is Shawshank, right? People don't think of Shawshank and Stephen King, but that was also Stephen King. And there you go. Here's Johnny. We got a couple of them. We're firing off now on the screen. I was thinking of the Frozen one where he's frozen, but yeah, there's several gifts from The Shining. Clippers, Mavs, 219.5 is the total. There it is. Producer Steve's on top of it. The Clippers are 3-point favorites here. Do not expect to see Bradley Beal. If you do, he will be in street clothes because he's not playing basketball for the rest of the season. Of course, Kawhi Leonard is still out as well for the Clippers. Anybody else of note? No. Dallas, highly questionable, dicey, if you will. Our projection team was so bold to say, yeah, we see Anthony Davis as questionable on the injury report. We don't care. We think you're liars in Dallas. We don't think he's playing basketball tonight. He's officially questionable. Derek Lively, officially probable with his knee. PJ Washington, also kind of questionable with his shoulder. Would Najee Marshall be interesting? Possibly, sort of.
I was looking at him earlier myself, but I don't think I can quite do it.
You gotta wait. That's the other part. There's only one. It's the only game. It's 8:30. It's a half hour after Charlotte and Milwaukee. And do we know when Dallas is going to give us news? I have no idea. Am I sure? Am I going to wait that out? I think Brandon Williams is the one I'm more likely to play because I think he projects fine right now.
I really like Brandon Williams here.
Okay, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Clippers, they play incredibly slow, so like this is not a good pace spot for Dallas. But I mean, I just think Brandon Williams. I mean, he currently is sitting in our FanDuel optimal right now at 5,400. So he's 5,400 across both sites. I do like him more than Davion Mitchell. I think I maybe even like him more than Jalen Suggs. And again, right around that same price point. So like. I personally am going to wait, I think, and play Brandon Williams in that mid-5 range at point guard. And then maybe he'll be even more valuable if PJ Washington were to sit. So he's already projecting really, really well here. And so, I mean, I really like Brandon Williams. I think I'd rank him ahead of Suggs and Davion Mitchell here. I don't know what do you think about that? Between those 3 point guards, where would you
definitely
rank
ahead of Mitchell? Williams? For sure, ahead of Mitchell.
Right.
Suggs. I mean, so I think I like him better than Suggs if everybody plays for Dallas, but I don't think everybody's going to play for Dallas. So, Williams might pass him by. I know it's different positions, but he'll get more responsibility, more run, more burn. And it seems like he's leaving D'Angelo Russell in the dust as well. Yeah. The other part of it is I sort of want to cap how many Magic players I play, and it might have me leaning to, and its salary might put me there too, but like playing Bane and Wagner, prioritizing them over Suggs just because they're not point guards, and it seems like we have a lot of good point guard plays at a similar price point. And I don't think I want to play 3 players in the Magic. Like, although optimals were kind of giving me some 3 players in Orlando, which I don't think I want in tournaments. It's not necessarily bad. They're all good individually, but could all 3 get their ceiling? And there is a pretty decent chance this game blows out to some extent versus Brooklyn. So,
yeah, I mean, I just don't think this is going to be the spot where they extend Suggs that much. So for me, this just catapults Williams to the top of that 3-man tier. So that's why I'm going to be waiting. I also got the advantage of waiting and maybe getting some other news in the slate perhaps that I can take advantage of. So I like sticking with Williams here.
Did you touch on the Clippers? I think the Clippers is basically, if you want to play some Harden, sure. If you want to play some Zubac, sure. But otherwise, I saw airplane mode. Derek Jones projected okay, but I don't think I'm doing that. John Collins might be okay, but, not necessarily something I'm prioritizing. Anything as far
definitely no priorities. I will say John Collins on FanDuel is only $5K, so that's a pretty decent price there. Harden at $9K on FanDuel is okay, but I think he's too pricey, at least for me, on DraftKings. So definitely no priorities here. Got a question about Zubac at 7,100. That's okay. I mean, if you want to take a chance there. He's going to get looks like he's getting some ownership on the DraftKings slate, 22% right now. I don't mind that. I mean, even if you just want to play him in single entry, I think that's fine, Richard.
That would significantly change if Duren and Beef Stew are out. So, yeah, I wouldn't be freaking out about ownership for Zubac unless I'm missing something. I think that would go down because people are just going to play. 2 spots are available. And if we lose Beef Stew and Duren, Paul Reed's taking a significant number of lineups will take it. And then we have Diabate we talked about, Drummond we talked about. So I think that ownership would shift. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it definitely would shift. If anything, his ownership's going down.
Yes. Yeah, that's there. Much easier way of saying it. Crunch time is knocking on the door. I do want to mention shot quality before we yield to crunch time. Gives you the most predictive data in basketball, breaking down every single shot. It shows you not what should have got in, but what did go in. You get this 3-day free pass, 3-day free trial. You get that link in the description. Also hit that like button while you're at it. Hit all the buttons, hit all the things. Help us keep the lights on. After that, if you do not cancel, it renews monthly for $39.99. Do not play blind, play smarter with shot quality, and that's integrated very, very nicely within the lineup HQ tool. I do want a player that's going to break the slate. They're also going to touch on the Warriors and the Spurs, which is FanDuel only. They'll go position by position around the horn, talking about both sites. But who's breaking the slate this evening? Tim, the floor is yours.
He's going to come with some ownership, but I don't think he's going to be overly chalky. I'm going to go with Brandon Williams exceeds 40 DK points.
All right, there it is. I think I like Williams as well. Like the point guard, the team point guard is going to be an interesting conversation. And when we get news for Detroit is the other thing. And I'm afraid we're going to get it at 7:00. Right at 7:00, the slate locks, and here's your Detroit news dropping in. They're going to time it perfectly. Let's do it. Let's seamlessly transition to crunch time. TJ Zwarych, Beermakersfan, Kevin Roth. Let's do it right now. Roth, what's up? Happy Friday. How are things?
Things are good. Going to be a busy weekend, but just enjoying the Friday while we've got it, Dean.
Your personally busy weekend, work-wise busy weekend? Is there a lot of weather lurking? I saw like Cleveland and Baltimore. I guess Baltimore at Cleveland. Is that something that's going to be a thing?
Not at all what I meant, but also busy NFL weather as well. But I got Disney on Ice with the kids on Saturday. We got a fire truck coming to the house on Sunday for my kid's birthday. A whole fire truck. You're just pulling up. I'm going to party.
What does it cost to rent a fire truck these days?
I think it was $300, which doesn't seem too crazy for a whole fire truck.
What if a fire relatively close breaks out?
Yeah, I get precedent. I paid them, so they gotta wait. You gotta wait. But yeah, we get to use the hose. I'm excited to do that. Yeah.
$300 seems like a steal. I'm gonna get. Well, I don't even have a party, but I'm just gonna get my own fire truck. If that's
they're gonna be here for an hour and a half for $300. It seems like Seems like a win.
Can you get like on the crane, or is that you got to pay more for that?
I don't know about the crane. They will take us all for a ride. I don't know about the crane thing. It's a good question.
Okay, I'm interested. All right, I might crash the party, Roth, if that's okay.
Come on through.
Beer, how are things? And could you top that? Did you have better plans this weekend?
I can't top that. I mean, I was a firefighter at one point, so I got that going for me.
Really?
But way back in the day, way in the military. So we're talking 25 years ago, but that does seem like a steal, and it feels like Roth's setting the bar awfully high for everybody. I mean, you can't go to any other party and they don't have a fire truck. It's
My wife does that. She's like, we're going to have the best party. And then it also sets the bar high for us because next year you have to do something better. And soon, like, we're going to have freaking Britney Spears coming because you keep going higher and higher. It's a problem. It's a big problem.
But I am good, Dean. Thanks for asking. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I would be remiss if I did not say hello to TJ. What's up, TJ? How are things?
TJ looking fresh over there. Just got a fresh cut.
New haircut, yeah. Sides of my head are a little bit cold, and I'm gonna have to bundle up. We're going for a nice little jaunt outdoors tonight, but yeah, doing well. Got busy with the NFL weekend starting up. Lots of football shows. Went and saw The Running Man last night. The new version of The Running Man last night. And then got a buddy's 30th birthday party tomorrow night. And then
do we get the review?
Get the fire truck. Is it too late to get the fire truck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, might have to. Yeah, if you want the review, you can head over to the Agents of Fandom YouTube page.
Damn it.
Podcast about it today.
Roth, Derek in the chat brings up a great point here. You should use the ladder to hang your Christmas lights, the old double dip.
A 2-for-1,
I mean,
Derek.
While you got it there, you might as
Roth
well
always
take
pays a
advantage.
guy to come set
You
up.
got a
the
guy,
Christmas
right?
lights.
You have a
Maybe
Christmas lights,
these firemen can be the guys.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Have the kids do it.
The Christmas
The
lights
kids will
guy
bring 'em
comes
up.
tomorrow, Fire Truck Sunday, but I should have coordinated that for real.
So that actually is what I'm doing tonight. Is in Saskatoon we have a massive drive-through Christmas light show where they just have all these kinds of like cool displays that light up and change colors, and it looks like they're moving around with the lights turning on and off. And because it's not that cold yet, they do like walk-through versions of it. So that's what we're doing tonight.
Nice.
Very nice.
All right, let's give the people some time here for crunch time. We got 40 minutes. Myself and Tim, we thank you for watching the first portion. Hit that like button, subscribe, do not go anywhere because crunch time. And hopefully, maybe some basketball news. Maybe Detroit will be kind. Maybe they won't. 7 o'clock. That's the over-under when Detroit injury news comes in. Roth, it is all yours.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it. Ladies and gents, you know the drill. It's crunch time. It's Friday version. We're going to belly up to the fantasy bar with Beermakersfan. When I said the fire truck, somebody in the chat was like, can we get a beer truck instead? Now
we're talking.
We will have adult beverages for sure at the party. Beer, I could see you delivering beers. That I could picture, like picking up cases of beers, putting them on the dolly. But no, you were a fireman, not a beer delivery guy.
Yeah, like I said, long, it almost seems like a past life. But yeah, it was a good experience. So you'll have fun, and the kids will have fun with the fire truck. I'll tell you that. Lots of little gadgets and things to mess with, and that's pretty cool that they do that. I didn't even know that was a thing. So, and it seems reasonable. Like when you said cost, I'm like, that's got.
Yeah.
Well, Mike B's bringing up a great point in chat. It usually costs a lot more than $300, but Roth's wife has the hookup with the fireman.
Hang on now.
Heyo!
Hang on. Heyo. We got TJ Zwarych in the house as well. What up, TJ, man? How are you?
Doing well, and short form, people should still check out the Agents Found YouTube page. But short form, I did enjoy The Running Man. It's got a lot of mixed reviews. People seem to either really like it or really dislike it, but I kind of am in the middle. I just think it's a fun action movie. A lot more faithful adaptation to the book than the first one. So it's a good time. I recommend seeing it.
Is it Glenn Powell again?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's good.
He's
good.
good.
Man, he's everywhere. Yeah. All right.
I mean,
we
actually talked about that on the podcast today. I do find it kind of interesting how, we talked about, or not, we didn't talk about, but people often talk about how it's kind of like the death of the movie star. Movie stars don't really exist in the same way that they used to. But now anytime someone gets remotely popular, they're like, this guy's everywhere. We don't want to see him anymore. So it's kind of like, you can't really have a movie star if you don't want to see him in the movies. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, those guys used to be in absolutely everything all the time.
Yeah, right. And now Glenn Powell, and I remember Dean saying this maybe a year or more ago. He was like, Glenn Powell is the movie star, and he is correct. He is the lone movie star that we have. Butthole, not a fan of Glenn Powell. All right, well, we're not here to talk Glenn Powell, thankfully. We're here to talk hoops. It's what we do. Maybe some brews, maybe some dinner plans, but certainly some basketball. Rockets, by the way, starting Thompson, Okogie, Durant, Smith, and Şengün. Just throwing that in the chat. I don't know if that's what we had penciled in. But we're here to figure out how we're going to win some money. And TJ, why don't you give us a general overview of the slate? Then Beer, I'm going to have you lead us off point guard on FanDuel.
Well, we're going to wait. We're going to wait as long as we possibly can. We're going to hope and we're going to pray. We're going to cross our fingers. We're going to throw some salt behind our shoulder. Is that a thing? I can't remember. And we're going to just really, really manifest that Detroit is going to give us their news before lock, because their game is 30 minutes after lock, which means technically they're supposed to be giving us their starting lineup right at 7 o'clock, which means technically they are supposed to be giving us their injury news a little bit before then. But it's probably not going to happen. As Dean talked about on the last show, Detroit's typically one of these teams that wait till the last kind of minute to share these injury news. They've already called it a game time decision. We are currently waiting on Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, and Isaiah Stewart, who are all questionable game time decisions.
Wow.
There's a lot of other good value. There's some other injury news we're waiting on. There's other injury news in that game that we're waiting on, but that's really the big stuff because it totally changes and shapes the entire slate. They have been priced up a little bit because of these guys have been in absence. So Paul Reed, Dennis Jenkins, they're a little bit more expensive than they had been, but they still
smashed.
Will. If you look at the if-then projections, they're still the best values on the slate. It even gives you some super cheap value options that you can go to in that game if you get all of those guys out. If one is out, if two is out, all of a sudden that starts changing things a little bit. If Jalen Duren is out, but Isaiah Stewart is in, well, is Isaiah Stewart all of a sudden the top play that we like over Paul Reed? If Stewart and Cunningham are out, then Duren all of a sudden is a top play. I'm playing it right now. I have a build as if all those guys are going to be out, and then I'm just going to adjust from there because I would rather, end up with a couple duplicates or end up with some similar lineups because I had only a few options with this value that I chose than miss out on the value. I would kind of rather, I don't want to plan for them to play and then miss out on all the value. And so I'm currently planning on Detroit guys not playing, but there's a good chance we're going to have to be doing a lot of rebuilding the second we get that news.
Okay. Beer, last time these dudes were out, all of the cheap guys on that team absolutely crushed. And then, as I recall, all of the guys I ended up paying up for did really shitty that night. And my whole lineup sucked anyways. What are we doing tonight? Let's start point guard FanDuel. We'll work our way through. What do you got?
I did give you Dennis Jenkins at the end of that show.
You did? I played him. I played.
Good. Holland was a mess. So, obviously Detroit is something that we are absolutely waiting on. So I think you're going to see a lot of value point guards tonight. I think there's very viable options. The three that stand out to me are Miles McBride at 4,400 without Brunson, Jalen Suggs at 5,400 without Banchero. Brandon Williams has really been playing well, and he's 5,400. So you're going to get a lot of ownership on those guys, though. So using one of them and maybe spending at another spot, we may get Jenkins as well. So you have that one waiting in the wings. I think Davion Mitchell is solid value here as well. But I think there's some pay up spots here that are going to go low owned tonight. I know it's not the ideal spot to pay up at, but, we can get a little bit different somehow. We certainly want to do that. So the guy that really stands out to me at ownership right now is Tyrese Maxey. Projects really well. I know he's expensive at 10K, but he's probably going to be about 10 to 12% owned. Now it'll depend on the health of Detroit as well. So this one kind of hinges on that. If there's no Cade, there's no Duren, this spread probably, flips over to the Philadelphia side, I would guess. So, we could potentially get a blowout here. Not that Philly's good, but you do have that concern. So I think that's kind of holding his ownership back a little bit, but I think he's a phenomenal play in the high end. I think James Harden, didn't love him the other night at 50%, but tonight I don't think he exceeds 20%. So I think he's a great play. And Cade, if he's in, no one's going to have him. This news is going to come so late that I think that's another situation you can take advantage of. So again, I think the value is where you want to go, but I think that's where everybody's going to go. So those are some ways to get a little bit different, kind of in between all of that. And Drew Holiday is a great play still at 6,900, Shaedon Sharpe at 6,300. So there are some options in that middle range, but a lot of these guys from, 7, 8, 9K are not going to have ownership tonight. So very intriguing in tournaments. Amen Thompson, another one at 8,200. So there's ways that you can get off of the chalk. If you're in cash games, I would play two of those value guys, but tournaments, I think there's some phenomenal pivots tonight.
Okay. TJ, your thoughts at point?
So I'm kind of in lockstep with Tim from the previous show. I'm playing 150, well, not with the lineups I'm playing, but with the strategy involving the guy at the top of the screen there with the highest ownership percentage. I'm playing 150 lineups and I'm fully fading Jalen Suggs. Yes, you can play him in cash, but to me, that is the tournament fade of the day. And he's projecting for upwards of 40% ownership on both sites, 35 to 40. And I don't really get why. Yes, they're without Banchero, but this is a game they should probably easily blow out the Nets. And he already has been playing somewhat limited minutes coming back from injury. He's been trending upward, but is a game against Brooklyn really a game he's going to continue to trend upward for? They probably won't need him to play very many minutes against Brooklyn. And so I'm not getting there. Even if this game's close, he's going to be capped at 28, 30 minutes. If this game is not close, he's going to be the first guy that comes off the court. So I'm fully fading Jalen Suggs today. My preference is Brandon Williams and Miles McBride. Those guys are the two I'm getting the most. I really like Brandon Williams tonight. FanDuel Drew Holiday is really cheap, so I have no problem with going Holiday and Williams and then saving McBride for the shooting guard position. Davion Mitchell is fine. He's nice and cheap. Don't know how much of a ceiling he's got today. Ryan Rollins is somebody I think is very interesting. We're projecting 20-ish%, but I don't actually think he's going to be that highly owned. And we got Cade Cunningham out. Yeah. And so Dennis Jenkins is looking very good. We have Jalen Duren out. And so, come on, give us Isaiah Stewart as well right now so we don't have to worry about anything else. One more. Come on. Why do you only give us two of them? Where's the third? Alas, those are the two most important.
It's called ones. A tease. Dean's still playing with us.
The that Dean sent is like perfect because all of us are like, what? Where's the third one? What do we got? I guess we wait. We continue waiting.
Yeah, it's like we're still waiting on Isaiah Stewart. And we did just get for the Magic that we were originally projecting Jonathan Isaac to start for them today. It will be Tristan Da Silva starting for Paolo Banchero, not Jonathan Isaac. So Tristan Da Silva in the starting lineup. VJ Edgecombe available to play. Isaiah Stewart available to play. So that does make things very interesting. We will get to that more when we go to the power forwards and center positions. Mm-hmm. But Dennis Jenkins is 4,500 on FanDuel. He is a core play now. This is a guy that you probably want to get close to hitting the lock button on, but you're definitely playing him in cash. He's a great tournament play as well. We will get to the later positions, but both Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed are going to be looking like really great plays now, especially on FanDuel where Paul Reed is so cheap.
Yeah. Okay. Well said. Let's go to shooting guard.
Shooting guard on FanDuel. I do really like Miles McBride over here. So now that we did have Jenkins open up, I'm going to be prioritizing Brandon Williams and Dennis Jenkins in point guard at FanDuel, and that leaves me Miles McBride to use at the shooting guard position. You also have Desmond Bane, who I would way rather play than Jalen Suggs today. He's $1,000 more, and I think his ceiling is probably 20 points higher. I think you could get a 50-point game if Bane is shooting really well. And Suggs, I think your ceiling is going to be like 35. And so big fan of Desmond Bane today. That's the magic chalk that I'm okay eating. I don't mind Norman Powell as a pivot off of Bane, 6,700. Don't mind Trey Murphy today going up against the Lakers. He's a guy that I play basically every slate since they've been injured. I'm a big fan of him. And that's kind of it for my targets.
Okay. Beer, your thoughts at shooting guard?
TJ nailed a lot of the guys I'm looking at. So I think McBride's a great play here. Gives you access to another point guard. I still think Suggs is in play. I don't mind the fade at ownership, but I do like Bane as well. Both of those guys are going to be pretty highly owned. So as far as pivots go, I like the Norman Powell call. He shouldn't be too highly owned here against the Knicks. Trey Murphy's been playing well. I mentioned Harden at point guard. I think he's a solid option here tonight. That's really about all I have exposure to. Anthony Edwards, if you want to get a little bit different on the high end, I don't hate that at 9,500. Good spot against Sacramento. Blowout a concern, but a huge total in that game at 240. So he's very interesting as well. Trying to see anyone else. It's really about it for me, Roth. Pretty condensed at this position tonight.
All right, let's go to the forwards. And you start us off at small forward, Beer.
Franz Wagner should be one of the first pieces you put in your cash game lineups. And as TJ mentioned, eating the chalk in tournaments, I actually prefer Wagner. Bane and Wagner looking like they're both going to be similarly owned. Wagner a little bit more expensive, but he's just going to have to do that much more here against Brooklyn. Again, blowout is certainly a concern as 14.5-point favorites, but I want some exposure to the Magic, and Wagner would be my favorite there. I like OG Anunoby tonight, a guy that just does a little bit of everything. And when he gets that scoring going, really raises that ceiling here. So a decent spot for him tonight here against Miami. Andrew Wiggins is interesting on the other side of that game at 6,500. As far as value goes, and we don't have the value that we had at point guard position, but guys like Moses Moody, interesting at 46. Sadiq Bey at 49 should continue to start there. And Josh Hart, another Nick I'm interested in at 5,600. So more of a pay up spot for me with guys like Wagner, but there is some value here tonight.
Yeah, very good. TJ, your thoughts there at small forward?
Again, not a lot to add. I agree. Wagner is a great play. I kind of think you play Wagner and Bain, and then you omit Jalen Suggs. Like, honestly, even in FanDuel cash, I would still play Jenkins and Brown and Williams and be fading, and be fading Jalen Suggs there. So I like the idea of playing both of them. Sadiq Bey is going to be a core play for me. He's just way, way, way too cheap. I like Josh Hart for a tournament play. He's very interesting. We talked about Norman Powell and Trey Murphy already, and that's kind of it.
Okay. Go to power forward. We talked about De Silva getting the start. I believe on FanDuel, he is power forward only. Are we interested? Can I play this dude? He seems like he can get it done a little bit. I don't know. Where do you stand, TJ?
I'm not really interested on DraftKings where he's more expensive, but on FanDuel, definitely at only 3,900, I think he's playable. The thing is, like, so we talked about Franz Wagner already. I like Sadiq Bey a lot. Those are two guys that can occupy this position if you're not playing them at small forward. But I also think you want to prioritize Karl-Anthony Towns today at 89. You want to prioritize Isaiah Stewart now that he's playing without Jalen Duren at 5,500. And then you have Giannis, who's primed for a really great ceiling game today. And so there's actually a really big opportunity cost at FanDuel power forward. So that's what I do. Hesitate a little bit with a guy like De Silva, but for that $3,900 price tag, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I think at this position, if somebody has small forward eligibility, I would rather play them there because guys like Towns, Giannis, Stewart, those are the big priorities here at this position.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, your thoughts at power forward?
Yeah, Towns and Stewart really stand out. I mean, Towns at 8,900. Without Brunson, it's probably 1,000 too cheap, to be honest. So he projects really well tonight. Stewart should see all the usage he can handle in the spot. So those two really stand out. And I agree with TJ. I like Franz Wagner. I'm definitely using him at small forward position over going power forward. So Giannis becomes that much easier to get into a lineup tonight. 12-3 is usually not easy to fit, but we certainly have a lot of value if you want to go that route. And his ownership doesn't look too bad. So he's a spend you can make. I think Sabonis is interesting at 8,300 against Minnesota. They're going to need him against those big bodies there. So I like that. Value here, again, Bay stands out at 49, but I'd use him at small forward. John Collins, 5K is okay. PJ Washington at 66 is probably a little underpriced as well. So those are the main ones. But I think in cash, Towns, Stewart is the way to go tonight.
Yeah. All right.
We have bumped Paul Reed's projection all the way down to 11 minutes. So I guess he's not playable at all anymore.
Yeah, he takes a hit for sure. I think he plays more than that, but certainly tough to play him now with this news.
Okay. The news being that Stewart is in, and perhaps that brings us to where we want to be right now, Beer. What are we doing at the center spot?
So my favorite is Andre Drummond. I think that's going to be a go-to for a lot of people at 5,200. Even with Stewart in, he should be able to dominate on the glass. So I like utilizing him there, keeping Towns at the power forward, get yourself access to some big bodies. I think Zubac, interesting against Dallas, another team that's likely going to be undersized tonight. So he should be able to dominate on the glass at 7,400 to kind of get you off of some of that chalk. And Diabate, if you don't want to eat the Drummond chalk, he's significantly less owned, projects just slightly less than Andre Drummond, and he's only $100 more. So I think that's a great tournament pivot if you're looking to get off Andre Drummond. But cash games, it would be Andre Drummond for sure at 52.
Yeah. And
so
TJ,
I got to double
mentioned...
take back what I said about Paul Reed because 28 minutes. I refreshed, but the guys got removed, but the projections didn't quite update yet. And so I refreshed at the right exact wrong time. And so 28 minutes for Paul Reed. He looks like a very great play, especially on FanDuel where he's so cheap.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Because we are at center anyways, TJ. What do you got?
If you do want another punt at power forward quick, Tolu Smith is projecting really well at only 3,700. Another big man for Detroit today. Pivoting over to the center position, I do think I'm going to make a rule that I will play one of Paul Reed, Tolu Smith, or Isaiah Stewart in every lineup. I probably won't double down on them, but I'll play one of them in every lineup is what I'm planning for. Other guys at center, Andre Drummond, Moussa Diabate, both projecting really well. I saw somebody asking Paul Reed or Andre Drummond. I would rather Drummond on DraftKings, FanDuel, and then Reed where he's cheaper on FanDuel. I'm probably just sticking with those guys in that range, though. Like, if somebody has a power forward eligibility, play them there. If Şengün is fine, but I probably don't get there. Zubac is fine, but I probably don't get there on FanDuel. And I forgot to bring him up, but man, Victor Wembanyama is on FanDuel, and so you can always play Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, very good. Okay, I do want to make sure that we're getting the people the best deal in the industry. Look, if you're playing one sport, maybe you're just playing NBA, maybe you're just playing NFL. What are you thinking? Combo Pro, more bang for your buck. For a limited time, get your first month of Combo Pro for $79.99. That's just $5 more than an NFL DFS monthly subscription. So you get elite value there by getting more sports, basically for the price of one. NFL, NBA, PGA, MMA, college football, yada, yada, yada. We can keep rolling with that. But we want to kick it over to DraftKings. We're going to speed run it just a little bit on DK. We still have 19 minutes until lock. I want to make sure we have time for your questions. Beer, I'm going to start with you. And on DraftKings, I'm noticing that I don't have even the value. The cheap guys, they're not that cheap. Jenkins is over 6K. McBride is almost 5K. Drummond, Reed. Like, these are not 3K dudes. Walk me through the build, and especially let me know if there's any, like, dumpster diving value.
I don't think there's dumpster diving value. I mean, you could take your chances with some guys, but I think that range is probably where you want to cut it off. Dennis Jenkins at 61, I still think it is a solid play. I mean, he's shown us the guy has 40, 50 point upside. So, we don't love the price tag, but the guy that stands out over here against ownership is Brandon Williams at 5,400. Right now, we're not, shouldn't be too highly owned. I think he comes in less than some of these other names. So as far as going lower than that, Jeremiah Fears isn't bad at 48. You have McBride at 48. I don't see any real dumpster dives. I mean, you could take a shot at, Cole Anthony's or Jose Alvarado's right around 4K. Demon from Brooklyn, but I don't think you want to go that low. So those are the main ones for me. I think Austin Reeves over here is interesting at 8,000. Pretty good price for him. Ryan Rollins, a little more expensive here at 6,700. That one's okay. And Drew Holiday, he's more expensive here at 7,500, but he's been playing so well. Not the easiest matchup, but you're going to get low ownership for that.
Yeah. Okay. TJ, your thoughts at point?
So Brandon Williams is my guy here as well. Getting to him in 40% of my lineups, my highest owned play on the slate. Miles McBride is coming in next here at this position, but that's somebody I'm getting to more at the shooting guard spot than the point guard spot. Sorry, just lost my page here for a second. Dennis Jenkins, about 30%, like him a lot. Trying to spend up to Maxey and Luka Doncic equally at about 20% since they're both projecting for really low ownership. And then I have just a sprinkle of Harden, Rollins, Holiday, and Ball.
Okay, very good. Shooting guard, TJ.
Miles McBride, my top option here. I mentioned him at point guard, but I'm mostly playing him at shooting guard starting today for the Knicks, starting in place of Brunson. Desmond Bane is my next favorite. Austin Reeves is projecting for a ton of ownership. I think he's fine, but I really don't like him at that ownership. Somebody I'm looking to be underweight on in tournaments. I like Trey Murphy and Norman Powell as pivots. And then if I need to punch, the guys I'm getting to are Reed Shepherd or Jordan Clarkson. I'm only playing one of Clarkson or Miles McBride, though. Clarkson's like my McBride pivot, not somebody that I'm playing with McBride.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. We did get that name a few times. Beer, your thoughts at shooting guard?
So I'm a little higher in Austin Reeves. I just like the price. I like the matchup here, 9.5 point favorite. So we, again, blow out concerns, but he projects very well at this price. And I think some of his ownership could come down with some of this Detroit news and value opening up and people looking, then they'll spend up, up to Maxey, guys like that. So I think that number ultimately comes down. So he's very intriguing. Desmond Bane, a little bit more expensive over here at 7K, but he rates out very well. Edwards, I mentioned on FanDuel. I like him over here as well at 8,900. Agree with TJ. McBride, I think, is a great value play at 4,800. And then some other names, maybe a little less owned. I agree on Norman Powell at 7,100. I think Karis LeVert at 5,300. I don't know if we got news on him, but if he's in, Javonte Green for that matter, both of those guys I think are going to have to do that much more. And then Reed Shepard, I agree, at 4,200, good value play as well.
Yeah, he's been letting that thing fly out there lately.
He has.
Getting the shots up and doing some other stuff as well. Very good. Small forward, Beer. What do you got there?
Small forward again, Franz Wagner, one of my favorite plays on the slate. I don't think he'll have as much ownership over here on DraftKings at 8,500, so he stands out to me. OG Anunoby, 6,900 again. Good price on him here on DraftKings. I really like Jaden McDaniels at 5,900 against Sacramento tonight. We mentioned that total in that game. Should be an up and down game there, so he's in play. Michael Porter is a guy that I never get right. When I'm not on him, he does well. When I am, he doesn't. So I'm probably off him tonight. So you have that gift. He's probably going to have a big game tonight. So do with that what you will. And I'm always a Jaime Jaquez guy. So his price is coming up at 7,400. Just gives you that triple-double level upside.
Yeah, no doubt.
We
TJ,
did get some Sacramento news. It looks like Sabonis and Monk will both play. And then Russell Westbrook is going to be starting for Schroeder.
Anything there that you think, okay, because of this, I want to this?
Nope.
No, not really. All right. Very good. TJ, your thoughts on small forward?
Small forward, I'm too like a bunch of Wagner. I'm getting to him a decent amount, but I'm mostly going cheaper. Sadiq Bey is going to be my top option, followed by I'm getting to a fair amount of Josh Hart and Javonte Green. Probably want to bump down that Josh Hart a little bit, though. See if I can get a little more Wagner in my next run. It's a pretty weak position on DraftKings, so that's one of the benefits of just getting to as much Wagner and Bay as you can. And then guys like Jaden McDaniels, Green, Hart in the mid-tier. You can play Tumani Kamara. That's fine. Holland is fine, but it's a pretty weak position outside of Bay and Wagner.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to power forward, TJ.
Bay also can be played at the power forward position. Outside of him, Isaiah Stewart, now playing for Detroit, will be my top option here. Karl Anthony Towns looks wonderful without Jalen Brunson. He's my favorite spend up, followed by Giannis. I still want to get to a lot of Giannis today. We have the value to make it work. Josh Hart, again, I'm getting to a little bit here. Oh, I need to take Precious Achiuwa out of my pool because that was somebody I only wanted to play if Sabonis was going to be out. Other couple cheap options I don't mind, Derek Queen, Jabari Smith. And then, like, everybody's healthy, so I don't really know how long it's going to keep happening, but Julius Randle's been, like, the best player in basketball this year, so might as well just keep playing Julius Randle.
Yeah. Beer, your thoughts on power forward?
Same guys I love here, Karl Anthony Towns and Isaiah Stewart. So those two stand out. I love the Randle call. 8,300 is probably too low for him in this spot, so he looks good. If you can get to Giannis, I think it's a little tougher over here to get to Giannis, but he's always in play. So 11-7, I think you can make that work. Denny Avdia, a guy that his price is really getting up there, but he's going to be 1-2% owned tonight. So even at 9K, really think he's intriguing. I continue to play Derek Queen. I think he's got a bright future. I think eventually his role starts to grow. So 4,800, 4,900 tonight. I want to be out ahead of his value. I think Nikola Jovic. There's some solid guys in this cheaper range, Roth. Jabari Smith at 5K, Derek Jones, Derek Queen, both in the fours. Jovic, Noah Clowney at 4,800. So Stewart is a guy that's his ownership will shoot up. Those are guys you can pivot to. But if I'm in cash games, it's Sadiq Bey, it's Towns, it's Randall, and it is Isaiah Stewart. Some combination there are great cash game plays, and even in tournaments, I'm not worried about the ownership on any of those guys.
Okay, we did just get some news. PJ Washington and AD are both out for the Mavs. Anything there that starts to creep up a little bit?
They're getting some other bodies back, and they're kind of priced up. So I honestly don't think so.
Yeah, Beer. Any interest from you?
Same. I mean, they're going to have, if they were down some of the centers they've been missing, it would be intriguing for one or the other, or Najee Marshall would get a bump. I think this may help Brandon Williams, if anything, and maybe Cooper Flagg at very low ownership tonight.
Yeah, bump Brandon Williams even more. And then like Najee Marshall from a minute standpoint probably steps into the starting lineup, but he's priced above 5K on both FanDuel and DraftKings. So just not really worth it anymore.
Yeah. All right. Beer, take me to the center spot and help me out with this Detroit big man situation. Like right now, I have Stewart and Reed in. Do I need to stick with one of them? Do I want one over the other? They're basically the same price.
No, they're pretty close. So Reed at 5,800. We wish he was a little bit cheaper. So kudos to DraftKings for getting that price up there and keeping it up there. So I don't know that I want to play them together in a lineup. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but how many minutes does Smith take away from that? Do they ease Stewart back in? What's Reed's role? So there are questions. If I'm picking one, it is Stewart of that group. So I don't love the idea of playing them both together. So other guys I like, Drummond again, 5,700, a little less owned here on DraftKings. I think Zubac is a great play at 7,100 against Dallas. Diabate is probably going to be uber chalk here tonight, so I'm okay avoiding him at 4,200. And then you'll get some loaned if you want to spend here. Sabonis, Şengün. I don't think those guys see any ownership at all. So a great way to make your lineups a little bit different. Şengün really stands out tonight against Portland.
Yeah. TJ,
I will say, and somebody brought it up in chat as well, but the one Dallas guy I'm adding into my pool that wasn't there before is Max Christie. I think he's viable now.
Okay. Thoughts of center, TJ?
Moussa Diabate is the guy that I'm getting to the most over here. He's just cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. After that, it's a pretty even split between the three Detroit guys. I'm making sure I get maximum one, minimum one of the Detroit bigs in all of my lineups. So Isaiah Stewart, Paul Reed, and Tolu. I don't remember his last name, but Tolu, the 3,700 guy. My thought process there is I don't really think all of them can hit a ceiling. I do think two of them can have good point per dollar performances, but there's enough of these really good cheap centers that I only think one of them on Detroit is going to be optimal tonight. And so I'm going with a minimum one and a maximum one of the Detroit centers. Diabate and Drummond are my next favorites. Other than them, I am getting to a little bit of Mason Plumlee at really low ownership just because they only have two guys who are somewhat tall at all on that team. And one is Plumlee, one is Diabate, and they're going against Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Diabate could very easily get into foul trouble. I could see Plumlee soaking up 18 to 20 minutes, and because he's a 3K center, actually having an okay game.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Guys, we still have 7-8 minutes here until lock, which is plenty of time. Let's dive into some of these QQs. And to be greedy, I'm starting with my own. Either of you can answer. I've got 4,500 in the util. That leaves me with De Silva, Diabate, Reed Shepherd, who I want to play but shouldn't. TJ, you're on Diabate.
Diabate.
Yeah. Beer?
That ownership is insane to me on him. I get why he's being played, but he probably is the best option, unfortunately. I mean, Javonte Green at 5K, or what'd you say, 4,500?
45 or cheaper.
Yeah, it's probably Diabate. I don't see anybody else really. I'll keep looking for you though, Rob.
Okay. Well, I've got the chalkiest lineup of all time, so I'm Ixnay and Diabate. I'm going with Reed Shepherd, and I'm just hoping he hits.
Yeah,
that'll
there's nothing
work.
wrong with that.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we've got. It was producer Steve says Roth is not a man of the people. We got time. We'll get to their questions as well. They matter more than I do. Let's see what we've got. All kinds of things happening here in the YouTube. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up for us. We, of course, greatly appreciate it. And trying to get in the right spot here. Here we go. FanDuel Cash. There we go. Beer, Franz or Amon Thompson? FanDuel Cash.
Franz for sure.
DKGPP. Beer, Hart or McDaniels?
I'm going to go McDaniels.
Okay. TJ coming to you for a few. This one from Achilles in a DK Cash question. 3v3. Jenkins, McBride, Green or Suggs, Edwards, Bay?
Second one.
Carl says Jordan Clarkson. TJ, we briefly mentioned Jordan Clarkson. I think you got a little sprinkle. You got a little bit.
Yeah, just a tiny amount as a pivot off of McBride, but I don't love it.
Yeah. All right. Beer, a few for you. This is a FanDuel cash question. Franz or Ryan Rollins?
Franz for sure.
Olu says, any interest in Najee Marshall, Beer?
Slightly. I think he gets a little bit of a bump, but I think there's better options.
Okay. Could Klay Thompson get there?
Not likely.
Yeah.
I mean, Christie's playing so well. Williams is playing so well. I don't see his role changing a ton. So it's just, he's not been good. Anybody can get there, but is it likely? Yeah. No.
Yeah. TJ, Darren says, what do I do on FanDuel if Reed doesn't start? So first off, do we need Reed to start? And second, what do we do if he's not?
At 4,600, I don't think you need him to start. I think it is okay if he plays off of the bench. I would not like him as much in that case, but he's 40. Like, he's projected for like egregiously more points than anybody in that range. And so I still think you play him even if he's not starting.
Yeah. Okay. Easy enough. TJ, right back to you. This is a question from Kevin, not me this time. DK Cash, 2v2, Diabate and OG, or Bay and Jenkins?
Bay and Jenkins.
Jay Sams was curious about the minutes projection. You mentioned something about Reed. That was before TJ had refreshed, so ignore that. Reed is projected for 25 minutes. That is not an issue. Salary not considered. You got all the money in the world. TJ, you want Drummond or Reed?
Drummond.
Peterman has a Yahoo question. I don't know if we have that up.
I don't play over there, but we can try to help them the best we can.
$25 left at forward on Yahoo from Peterman.
Yeah, sorry. If he throws some names, give us a couple names.
Yeah. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, actually, doing pretty good here. We're less than 3 minutes until lock. Get your questions in. Answered them so far. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. The questions can be about basketball. They can be about football. You got to come in on this weekend. They can be about favorite beers or dinner. That's what we're allowing. 4 different topics. Who will win the battle of revenge? Reed or Drummond straight up, Beer?
I like Drummond better tonight, so I'll go that route.
Okay, very good. While we wait for some questions, I'm seeing some typing here. We got my guy Blink. Jamie says TJ Williams and Jabari Smith or Jenkins and Diabate.
Go Williams, Jabari Smith.
Oh, I really thought you were going to go the other way.
It's the other one for cash. I like Williams, Jabari Smith for tournaments, though.
Okay. I didn't expect it.
Brandon Williams is my iPhone play on the slate. I have 50%.
Okay. Hey, do I have just seeing? Oh yeah, I do.
We got him. We got him in there, Roth.
If he's chalky, I've got him. That's pretty much my lineup today. This is a fun question because I don't think a lot of people are getting to any of these plays. But Luke says your favorite elite pay up: Luka, Wemby, Giannis. TJ, you can go first, but Beer, I want your thoughts as well.
I mean, I'm going Giannis while TJ's thinking it over.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Beer first. My bad.
Oh.
Giannis, from a raw points perspective, definitely, clearly him. He on FanDuel, which I assume that's where it is because Wemby is on that site. We're projecting for 35% ownership for Giannis and 5% for Wemby. So I'd do Wemby.
Yeah, and on FanDuel, where you get the 3 points for blocks and steals, Wemby is kind of a cheat code
just
there.
The game, Giannis is probably going to have 40, 10, and 10.
Yeah. Let's see. FanDuel GPP, Beer, Hart Reed or Stuart Green?
Hart Reed.
Okay. TJ, 5,100 left at the Util DK. I've already got Bay and Queen. I need a sneaky good upside projection. 5,100 or less. Not Suggs. This is like kind of where I was.
Jabari Smith.
Okay, very good. Any love for Zubac tonight?
If you don't have him.
Either of you playing Zubac?
I like Zubac.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I have I can tell you exactly how much I'm playing them. I have 17%.
Okay. Curry or Maxi beer in a FanDuel GPP?
Maxi.
Our guy Butthole Jenkins. Did I get these other questions? I think so. Do we get this one from Darren? FanDuel GPP, TJ Hart, Reed, or Stuart Green?
Yep, we got that one.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Final question tonight. We did hit the lock. Our guy Butthole Jenkins says, which of these would you like with your grilled cheese? Would you like broccoli soup, tomato soup, or chicken noodle soup? I think there's a clear
It's the
clear answer
easiest
here.
question of the night.
Yeah, I think there's a clear answer. TJ is confused. He may not know the answer, so I'm forcing
He's
him.
Canadian.
No,
He don't know what we're talking
I
about.
Right.
was thinking in my head that's a ridiculously bad question because if it's with a grilled cheese, it has to be tomato.
Tomato is one with a grilled cheese. If I'm ranking those soups on their own, tomato is last.
Yeah, this is perfectly said. That is the answer. And when he says broccoli soup, does he mean broccoli cheese soup? Right?
Yeah.
There's broccoli cheddar. Yeah.
Yeah. But if
like,
you're doing that, you
am
already
I
have grilled
dipping
cheese.
the beauty of tomato soup, I can dip it in there and eat. I'm not dipping a grilled cheese into chicken noodle soup.
Right. And I'm not dipping it
Or
in a cheese
broccoli
either.
cheese could be all right.
You could dip it in there for sure. It's not the same as tomato though. Like that's just like a classic childhood
together.
meal.
Right. But also beer nailed it in that if you are actually getting the soups based on just the soups,
Oh yeah.
tomato soup's going last.
I don't
Soup
think
can
I've
be
ever
so
had
good.
tomato soup without a grilled cheese in my
Yeah.
life. Never.
Yep. This is correct. Steve apparently is wrong. He's doubling down on the cheese, and that's just the wrong choice.
Now we got a crust or no crust. And now if he's talking grilled cheese, there are some breads with some good crusts, and then there are breads that don't have good crust. So it really depends on your bread quality.
Yeah, for grilled cheese, I'm always having crust on there for sure. Because like that crust is elite for dipping in the tomato soup.
Yeah. You need I mean, if you're getting bread with bad crust, you're just doing it wrong. Get better bread at this, at this stage in our lives
right now.
We're not eating Wonder Bread. Speaking of which, it is dinner time. So we are going to clear on out of here. For TJ, for Beer, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.